What's happening, America? This is Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse.
And I'm John the Blanket. What a great week to be here at the America First Warehouse.
The most patriotic venue, Johnny, in all
in
the
land.
Yeah, and what a
Galaxy.
great, look at this setup over here. I'm just blown away. This is the actual table setup for this weekend where Steve Bannon, that's right, Steve Bannon and the War Room will be here doing their show, and they got incredible people coming on. I'm going to fill you in a little bit at a time throughout the show. First, I want to let you know about my great friend Steve Schmid. The original Department of Deep Thought is here from the Gulf of America. I'm going to get that down to a science, right? They taught you for years, but I'm going to change. It's the Gulf of America, right, Steve? That's where you live?
Joe, yes, and I can sum it up in 3 words. Hochul versus DeSantis.
Yes.
Tyranny versus freedom.
Oh, I see. There you go. That was 6 more. Steve, you hang in there because you got a wealth of information. They didn't call you the Department of Deep Thought because you don't really think. They call you that because you're deep in thought. And I love it, too, because you got some background. On the far, far right is Kevin Downey Jr. from, his own show, his own everything. He's his own man. We're blessed to have you, KDJ. What's happening?
Thank you for having me, my friends. This is going to be great. Can I just say, there's nothing funnier than the left saying, Trump's a pedo, and then finding out Trump was working with the FBI to put the actual pedo in prison. Everything they throw against the wall, Joe, you know what? Here's what they do. Throw it against the wall. If it doesn't stick, maybe it leaves a stain. But every time they play the "we got him now," it ends up in a heartbreak for them. And, of course, I find it hilarious.
So true, Kevin. And it's great how you make hilarity out of some things that are just really, that's what I love about it, too, because it's really common sense. It's the America First way. On the right side of me over, we have the fantastic Lisa Azzarelli. I was going to have her go into New York City or D.C. and give us the news, but she's right here at the desk where Steve Bannon will be standing in only a few short days. Lisa, can you bring us up to speed? First, how you doing? So happy to have you in studio.
Always happy to be here on Tune In Tuesdays and with this fabulous panel. Yes, we have a lot to break down here this week for our viewers. So first, let's take Steve Schmid is in, the OG co-host. We're so happy to have him. Kenneth Simmons will also be on, and Peter Tickton will be assumed guest as well. We have his book, What Makes Trump Tick. We're looking forward to breaking that down. We're also going to discuss some 9/11 reflections as we approach the 24-year anniversary. And we're going to take a look at what happened with the Ukrainian woman stabbed on a train. Trump has condemned it. We know that it's a result of social justice reform, and this was a repeat offender. We're going to take a look at that and examine it. Trump is removing 44-year-old blue tent outside the White House. This was an infamous tent, and also its surrounding tent encampments. These, under Trump's recent depiction, they represent communism. And so we want to take a look at that and how communism has seeped its way into our country. Also, we know that Trump visited the Bible Museum this week to help celebrate religious freedom. And ICE moves there, they continue to move in on workplace operations with a recent arrest of nearly 400 South Koreans at a Hyundai dealership in Georgia. Also, we know that RFK Jr. had a hearing last week. We want to take a look at that. He discusses why he fired Susan Moran and the necessary need to replace the CDC as the gold standard. So join us. Stay tuned with this amazing panel. We're going to bring you all those details.
Lisa Azzarelli, unbelievable. I just get like mesmerized by you, and I just can't imagine. It's just so incredible how you cover so many different things. But I know biting at the bit to the left of me is Steve Schmid. You got something on your mind, and I know you want to share it. And we got 7 minutes left in the first segment. You can get started now.
Well, Joe, thanks. It's a pleasure and honor to be here at the America First Warehouse. And I identify, as always, as an America First patriot of Christian faith and honor. To my fellow Floridian, Lisa, isn't it terribly exciting that we're able to return to Florida, and starting today through the end of the year, we have a Second Amendment sales tax holiday from today, September 8th, through the end of the year. A law signed by Governor DeSantis that we can buy firearms, ammunition,
This is
tax-free.
fantastic.
Tax-free.
I can't
Tax-free.
believe it.
So
That's amazing.
We got to keep that condo down there,
Just-
Johnny boy.
just drawing the stark distinction between living in a free state where we get
Big
to
time.
exercise our Second Amendment, and folks, always the First and Second Amendment, most important enshrined rights in our Constitution. You cannot have freedom without truth or the ability to defend yourself, and that's one of the reasons why we always advocate, always pursue the truth. The truth will set you free, and that's actually biblical, right? John 8:32 talks about that the truth will make you free.
I mean, this is so important. And also, we know that recently the Surgeon General of Florida, Lapido, just announced that they are looking into removing all vaccines against the will of the people. So I know that a study regarding the Amish community who has never received vaccines had outstanding health in comparison to much of our population who seems to be suffering. And just, I believe within the past 24 hours or so, Trump posted a video regarding thimerosal, which became one of the major contention areas of vaccines and responsible for, or the leading cause, they believe, of the autism and many of the neurological disorders that resulted after vaccines. So all of that still needs to be researched and uncovered, but just another example, as Steve says, when you're looking at the states and the way they function, who is more tyrannical and who is more free? And that's something that all the Americans in this country need to begin examining.
I think Trump's got to attack that fake news media, man. I just couldn't believe what I was watching coming out of their mouths. How do people do that, just fall for the lies. Kevin, how do you get the truth? And, why do you think people follow these lies? Like Trump was dead last weekend, wasn't he?
They follow these lies because they have nothing to cling to. These are people with serious Trump derangement syndrome. You can tell them anything. Excuse me. You can say Trump's got a second. Thank you. Trump's got a
bless you.
second head growing behind the other one, and they're going to believe it. And I know people who still think ivermectin is for horses, even though they've been making it for people since 1987.
Bleach is good for him, too. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about how wonderful that Ron DeSantis is. I lived in the state of Florida for quite some time in my life. I'm going to wind up back there, too. But the freedom to bear arms. And look at our United States military. And I met some monsters the other day, and they're nonstop. Nobody's going to take their guns away from them. And that's what's going to make America great, and that's what's going to make us stand. So that Second Amendment is important because when you think about, look at all those sissy asses in Australia that gave up their guns and how
in
they
Europe.
live
Yeah.
now in Europe.
Yep.
They're just overwhelmed. It's Second Amendment.
Well, I think that's part of the plan here was let's cause as many mass shootings as we possibly can, because that's how they took the guns away down in Australia. And that Parkland school shooting, I think it's a little odd that the one guy who wasn't there, the one kid who wasn't there, came out as the voice of that shooting, and his dad was a former member of the FBI. It's just a little too weird to me. That and they always say, well, he was on our radar. Of course he was, because I kind of think it might have had something to do with having him shoot the joint up.
It's almost hard to imagine that they can possibly even tell the truth. This is where America First media and television right here is going to be growing right out of the America First warehouse. We believe that the truth is important. That's why we're bringing great people like this weekend coming in. We have Steve Bannon. We have Peter Navarro. And we also, I'm not afraid to say it, we'll have Mayor Rudy Giuliani here as well. I mean, I can't believe the people that come through this. God has blessed this warehouse pretty much so, right, Steve Schmidt?
Joe, absolutely, and you deserve all the
I
credit
don't want
for that, Joe.
anything. I just want the American people to get the truth. It bothers me so much that they can outright sit there and lie, whether it's Whoopi Goldberg, who I might have thought was funny at one time, or Bruce Springsteen, who I used to think could listen to his music. Now, when it comes on my playlist, I delete it. Along with Neil Young, I'm deleting it. because I have no mercy. This is our country. It's America first. And it really has to be this way. It's not being a dictator or being a tyrant. It's protecting the people of our country. And Trump is doing it to the 100th power, right? Just like in D.C., Johnny boy.
Yeah, it's amazing. The greatest president in our lifetime, the greatest president in the history of this country. I hope they put his mug up on the canyon where the other guys are. Where's that? I forgot. Yeah,
Well,
he
we
needs to have
already
his
got
face
his mug
chiseled
shot.
there.
Not Rushmore.
So, Joe,
Not much
this,
more. Thank you.
this amazing America First Warehouse is your divine inspiration and creation. And the thing is, most importantly, it is a safe space for truth and critical thinking. And that's what we need. That's what we need. Don't buy into the false narrative that we're a democracy, folks. Learn the distinction between a democracy and a constitutional republic. The Constitution's not hard to learn. As we've said before, there's a lot of sources where you can learn the truth about civics, history. Seek them out. As an example, Prager University, PragerU 5-minute videos, and tune into this podcast every week.
Yeah, we have a lot of great stuff going on, and the vision here is divine. There's no doubt about it. Joe the Box, Johnny Blanket, we're just, two men that work so hard to make a living and try and support our family and raise our children the American way. And what we don't want to see is it being taken away by the government that was run by an empty suit Joe Biden auto pen. We'll be right back.
Who broke the television?
Can we laugh at that? Sounds like me.
As of this week, public gay sex will now be mandatory.
Am I the only one that sees lips move?
Cheekbones, baby.
I'm sorry, maybe I overreacted.
Corporate transfer, fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
Hey, fellow patriots, it's Cindy Gross here, host of Right for America, from your favorite place, the America First Warehouse. You've seen me show on my show so many products from this country's #1 most patriotic manufacturer with close to 400 products. You need to exchange the products you use in your house to this company and make your dollars count in our country.
Freddie Rubino here at the America First Warehouse. I'm inviting you to the live taping of the Not So Newlywed Show. Just click on the QR code right above my shoulder and you can get tickets. Live taping of the Not So Newlywed Show. Drinks, snacks, it's a great time. We'll see you there October 18th.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land. The America First Warehouse, where all our hearts will be. I got to work on that, but I know it's a pretty good jingle. I like it a lot.
Myself.
Hey, every day goes by and Trump does great things, and he's exposing the fake news. He's exposing the lies that the left continually pull out. Because the story of what happened to that girl, who I thought it was a little boy. Can you bring us in the loop on that, Lisa, and tell us what happened and what your thoughts on that nightmare?
Yeah, so very sadly, there was a Ukrainian woman who fled her country due to all of the issues taking place there, which we see many liberals supporting, right? We see the Ukrainian flag outside windows in the 5 boroughs here in New York for certain. However, she worked at a pizzeria. She came here, she defected, she worked at a pizzeria, and she gets on the train on her way home. And behind her is seated a repeat offender, I believe upwards of 14 releases. And the judge released him yet again, is, I believe, a Biden appointee. And so he, for whatever reason, unprovoked, she never saw it coming. There was surveillance footage that was sent out in which he brutally stabs her in the neck.
Unbelievable.
And so what isn't heard, from my understanding, is the audio in which he also makes derogatory, racist slurs regarding her race as he stabs her and murders her. So the fact that the mainstream media is predominantly silent on this, and she's a Ukrainian woman, so they know how to speak about that when they want to, but now they won't talk about it, is just another sign to all of us that we are being fed their own information, misinformation, and deceived, and we have to keep that in mind moving forward.
And the deception doesn't just come from, one or two people. It's almost every single department throughout the government. And Trump is firing them left and right. Oh, so what? They got a mortgage fraud. God, didn't they try and pin Trump that? Kevin, why is it so one-sided and garbage?
Well, the way I see it, they didn't think Trump was coming back. So they all said, how can I get my fingers in the cookie jar like a good Marxist and stomp on the rights of other people like a good Marxist? That's always their plan. You've got your high-level Marxists, then you've got your street-level idiots. Actually, Vladimir Lenin called them useful idiots. Those are the ones who are, the blue hair and screaming and holding signs. It was, I think, a couple months ago, it was, we hate Elon Musk. And now it's, we hate ice. Whatever he does, if Trump says, I love ice cream, they're going to come out, we hate ice cream. Melt all the ice cream. These people are out of their minds. They can't control themselves. And that is the really entertaining part to me.
Surprises me so much. A lot of these old people now, Steve, from the Gulf of America, you're surrounded by a lot of old people. Are they the ones, do you find them, really protesting like that down in your area?
Joe, this is not about the old people, right? I think the elephant in the room here with this whole subject of what happened in Carolina and this girl getting stabbed to death, people don't want to talk about it, but this is what we mean about the truth will set you free. The stark truth here, and this is not prejudice, this is fact, okay? According to FBI statistics, the black on white violent crime is, on a per capita basis, 40 times higher than white on black violent crime. This means that we have an epidemic, right? Black on white crime in this country is an epidemic, and that's not a reflection on the entire black community, of course. It's a small subset of repeat criminals. And it's also a reflection of our perverse, corrupt criminal justice system.
And in addition, isn't it true that the black-on-black crime is also extremely high, and members in these communities themselves suffer under these injustices? Kevin.
So if you look at the various, and I've done it, let me just say that white people outnumber black people 5 to 1. Black people are out murdering white people more than 2 to 1. So that is a shocking, and keep in mind there's five times as many of us. So when you hear LeBron James saying, they're hunting us literally every day. Nope. White people are being hunted every day, 365 days a year, and there's going to be 500 people murdered by, and this comes from an FBI form that only counts one victim, one attacker, and an arrest. So if you look at the gang beating in Cincinnati, if one of them had died, this would never even be in those stats because it was 11 against 3.
I think a lot has to do with mental illness too, and we don't have any place to put these people that are mentally ill. If you committed 14 felonies already, the sad fact you're still out in the street is pathetic. But obviously, the guy's got some mental illnesses, and maybe opening those state hospitals and having a home for these people instead of on the street. I don't know. We need some serious help in all areas, but a lot of it is due to some crazy people that are going to pull a knife and stab somebody like that. It was brutal.
And I think that's part of the plan. Because as Yuri Bezmenov, the Soviet defector, told us, there's a 4-point plan to take over the U.S. Plan 1, demoralization. Tell everyone, your country sucks. It's built on racism. Number 2, destabilization. That's when, in 2019, they started letting people out. And they said, well, we're going to cut off cash bail. Then we're going to defund the cops. They knew what was going to happen, chaos. And more black people died. They know every year how many black people, how many white people should be murdered. The numbers went up 35%, I think. And I did the math. That means that BLM's nonsense, cashless bail, let them out, defund the cops, resulted in the deaths of more black people in 4 years, and I looked it up, than those animals in the Klan lynched in 160 years. And that's absurd.
And a major, major push. We saw Trump post about this last week regarding George Soros. And again, a major push. We know that he's a major funder of Alvin Bragg. We know that he's behind a lot of these AG and DA races. And he is the justice reform interferer. He is the person that Hungary alone, where he came from, does not want him to have anything to do with their government any further, because he comes in under this guise of open society and equality or equity, really, and diversity, but what he does is scheme and create disruption within governments.
And
Kevin, to your point, Kevin, what you just said, life expectancy in this country since 2019 is down significantly, most pronounced in the black community.
Yep. I've been saying this for years. The Democratic Party has been using the black community to keep the inner cities be as nasty and as ghetto as possible, because that's how you tear a nation down. You go for the cities, you tear them down first. I grew up in Detroit. It's been a ghetto for a long time. Their last Republican mayor was 62. Baltimore was 67. St. Louis was 1949. Chicago was like 1931 or 33. 1908 for Milwaukee. I can do this all day. There's either these people are so inept that they should be out of office, or they're cheating elections so they can continue ripping down these once beautiful cities. Detroit was the Paris of America, and now it's the Toledo.
The Motor City, filled with Hyundai Korean workers.
Yeah.
Is that where Hyundai was over there? Unbelievable. Trump is bringing back America so quickly. And honestly, I want to put my pedal to the metal. I want to put my knee on their neck. We cannot stop. We got a great reviews, and we got great reporting from the Supreme Court coming our way, getting the Trump agenda done. America first, no matter how dumb those dumb Democrats are. We are going to put the pressure on them. We're going to be nonstop. This weekend is the most exciting weekend of my life. I can't believe I'll be crossing paths with great new founding fathers, because it's America first. I'm sick and tired of all of it. I watched it for 45, 50 years as the country kept changing. Sure, I understand we're a melting pot. Sure, I understand that but they have to come in and they have to adhere to our culture, our English language, our driving on the right side of the road. All the rules that I worry about every day. I can't get up. Oh, I got to make sure that I do this right and do that right. Johnny boy, I know you're on the same side of me with this over here, and I can't believe it. Do you feel that it's coming back. And when you come across these psychos that yell at you when you drive the van, you know, how do you react to that?
You can't feel any better than to be here at the America First Warehouse. And what's nice about these events and this big event for this weekend is so many people that haven't been here before. You know, I love this country. I was born and raised like that from my dad being a Marine and my youngest a Marine. I got the same tattoos as my dad with an American flag and an eagle. So I love this country, and I can't be prouder to be here and be part of the America First Warehouse with Joe the Box and everybody else that's at this table. And the people that come to the America First Warehouse, you'll love it. You got to get here. It's going to be great.
And besides, you know, what's happening this weekend, I know we'll probably talk about it a little bit later. Last week, we did something fantastic. It was Sunday night. DVS 7.0 is a real radical, New York City. You know, he just wants what's good for the city. He's really in Madami's face. He brought in at least 20 people that are America First, running for office, trying to get a word out. We gave him a platform, Steve. Did you know that? We gave him a platform to speak. And some big names came, Stick a Mule and some other, you know, big people that we really want to help.
Well, the only way we're really going to save this republic is we need to elect more genuine America First candidates. And I'm going to use this platform to say, ciao, Carlita, amore mio.
I'm not sure what that was, but I'm throwing you over the wall.
He said.
What did he say, Johnny?
He's making me hungry. I don't know what he said.
We'll throw you back over the wall. You start talking like that, Schmitty. We got 30 seconds left. Lisa, bring it home. What's on your mind?
You know, I just want to speak, too, to that same event this past weekend. The America First Warehouse came to a great event in Astoria, Queens. We I was a guest speaker alongside Gordon Chang, and they presented fabulous ideas about how we need to keep a watch on communism in America. So we're going to touch upon that and much more when we get back with this fabulous team on Tune In Tuesdays.
Corrupt judges, broken families, families torn apart. This is injustice. If you've been wronged by the system, join us. Don't stand alone. Hi, I'm Gary Jacobs, president of Americans for Legal Reform. We're the oldest legal reform group in the United States. The justice system in the United States should be transparent, fair, and open to everybody and accessible. Unfortunately, many times that's not the case. At Americans for Legal Reform, we are here to help. Join the movement. Visit AmericansForLegalReform.com and help reform the system before it fails you.
Hi, my name is Elena Ruseva, aka Megalangela. Please check my art at www.megalangela.vip.
The America First Warehouse Ultra MAGA Store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Warehouse Ultra MAGA Store.
The Queens Village Republican Club is America's oldest Republican club, founded in 1875. Situated in President Trump's hometown in Queens, New York, we are America First MAGA Republicans, empowering fellow Republicans to get involved in the game of politics at the grassroots level. We host inspiring monthly club meetings on the first Thursday of each month at 8 p.m. For more information, please go to our website at www.qvgop.org.
It's Tuesday here at the America First Warehouse. I am Joe the Box.
And I'm John the Blanket.
Freddie Rubino here with my podcast. That's what I'm talking about. Coming to you live from the most patriotic venue in the land.
Welcome to Right for America.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve? Fighting!
Welcome to Tune In Tuesday of the Patriots Podcast, live streaming every Tuesday night at 7:30.
Another edition of On the Right Side here, and you can catch us weekly, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
And welcome to Liberty's Cage, where we rip the veil off America's broken justice system, prisons that crush spirits, and a society that shuns people who have paid their price.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kevin Downey Jr. podcast.
Be free, stay free. Welcome to Suffocating in Suburbia with me, your host, Stevie GB.
Wow, I am blown away by the America First movement. This is media and television at its finest. It's the beginning stages. We have incredible people on board with us. On the far right, we have a new guest on board, Kenny, a 9/11 police officer. Some great things. We have an asset set up for you, Kenny, brother love. There you are. Look how handsome you are. Welcome to the warehouse, Kenny, 9/11. What do you got going on?
I wanted to just explain one thing. I'm not a police officer.
Please, straighten me out, brother.
Let me give you a ticket. Listen, I'm a 9/11 not first responder, but rescue worker. But at the time, I was doing an infomercial for Cantor Fitzgerald. So I was in the building, and I was in the lobby when in the North Tower, the first tower that came down. So I stayed in there, and it was the most incredible thing that I wish I'd have never done in my life.
We have an incredible video, if that's available to play. But I don't want to lose the time or the opportunity with Peter Tinkton, so I might switch gears over here and come back to Kenny and his story in New York City. Is Peter Tinkton on the Zoom call upstairs? There he is. Oh, my goodness. My brother, I love you so much, Peter. You are a real patriot. Now, I read your book. I loved your book. It's beautifully written. It totally captures everything that I believe was true. You made it happen. But there's a few critics that say you might be a little biased. Can you comment on that?
Biased as hell. Of course I'm biased. I mean, I know Donald Trump really well because we live together. And when you live with somebody, I mean, we're talking about a whole year. You know how many times he blew up and had a fit or punched the guy or screamed at somebody? Never. He's just a good guy. And as a captain, he had every right to do that. Nobody's going to tell a captain not to do things like that. But he never did. Just a good guy. So I'm biased. I'm going to be biased for the rest of my life.
And I think that's okay, Peter, because we all feel the same way. But I love the way you brought out him. Now, everything that you talked about when he was a young man is pretty much true even today. Has he changed at all, in your opinion?
You know, really. He's just still the same guy. Same patriotic guy. The same guy that has the same empathy that he always had. You know, people don't realize this about Donald Trump, but when he visits, let's say, a mother of a child that died, he has to go through his own form of grieving every single time. You know, what a sociopath is or a psychopath. They don't have any empathy at all. And Donald is the kind of guy that has more than his share.
That's incredible. That's an incredible comment. Steve Schmidt on my left is from the Department of Deep Thought. He's been so excited to ask you a question, Mr. Timken.
Yes, Peter, thanks for joining us. So what you just touched on was the humanity of Donald Trump. Is it possible to give our audience a quick example of Donald Trump's humanity that they may not be aware of? Because he's constantly attacked, right, for being a dictator, a fascist, a Nazi.
Oh, God.
But there's so many stories, a lot of it anecdotal, right, about his true humanity. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I can tell you, before he was a captain, the year before, when he was a supply sergeant, I wasn't with him at the time, but I had this fellow, Dr. Haight, I think was his name, and he and his wife came to see me. He was very ill at the point, but he wanted me to know what Donald had done for him at New York Military Academy. Basically, this is a guy who was small in stature. He was from Peru, and he was getting beaten up by the older cadets. He was in the senior barracks because he was in ninth grade or 10th grade, but he was too small to be there. And so even though it wasn't his place, Donald went to the commandant's office and explained to them they had to move this guy and put down with the younger kids. But when he came to see me, this fella, he wanted me to know that Donald Trump made all the difference in his life. Because of that, he was able to go on, become a doctor, and succeed in life. And he owed it all to Donald Trump, and that's the way he saw it, and that's the way it was.
What an incredible opportunity to in your lifetime to come across him. The first time you met him, can you tell us that experience?
Oh, it was probably on the soccer field, but I don't really remember it that well because, I was a new guy and trying to find my way. I didn't really get to know him that well, except that he was somebody that you could talk to. So when we'd go on bus trips or whatever, I usually sat near. We were the only two blonde players on the team, whatever that means. But the fact is that there were other things that showed this. In my third year and his fifth year, we were seniors together. And he, let me just talk about mail call, for instance. When you're the captain, you're the guy that hands out the mail. Our company occupied 2 sections of the barracks, so everybody from Section 2 came over to Section 1. And, we had cadets down the hallway, up the stairs, and the captain would be down there by the front door, calling your name and giving out your mail. Well, not everybody not everybody has parents that love them. And not everybody had parents that cared to send packages from home, cookies from home, that kind of thing. And Donald was always sensitive to those guys that didn't have a closeness with their parents. But they're standing there watching everybody else get letters, getting gifts, and they're not getting them. Donald always had the right thing to say.
What an incredible man. Lisa is our deep thought as well. She's got some thoughts about what's going on, and you got something for Peter?
Oh, Mr. Tickton, thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to applaud your work throughout your own personal career and history. It's amazing the rights that you fought for, especially AIDS victims and children and parent situations, is really made such a difference. Thank you. So as far as Trump, we've heard from Steve, people have these perceptions of him, and you portray for us a much different view for the public to see, and a personal one, because you were with him at such a young age. And for you to say that he really hasn't changed much, and that he's a person who's always sensitive, especially to the kid who might have been on the outside. I would like to know, in your view, do you think that President Trump is going to achieve what he's going to achieve for the American family here in America, in your view?
Yes. That's a great question. The fact is, I get questions very often. What do I think that he thinks about what his legacy is going to be and so on? I don't think he gives a hoot about what his legacy is going to be, because what he is, guys that knows how to fix things. He knows how to, if a machine is broken, he's going to either figure out how to fix it or get the right guy that knows how to deal with that particular problem and then get it fixed. It's just his nature. And so right now he's taken over the office of president of a broken country. I mean, we were taken over by foreign and hostile forces for 4 years. I mean, if you think that the election was stolen, believe me, it wasn't fixed by flat tire. It's taken over by people that are still there, still in place. And we've got Donald Trump fighting this entire war, knowing what he's fighting, where most of the public have no clue as to how deep and how bad it really is. And he's fixing it. So yes, he's actually doing the thing. I mean, it's like every day's Christmas. every day he's hitting on something else that needs to be dealt with, and he doesn't pull his punches either. He never has.
And he does it with such class and such style. And it really irks them so much when he talks, like he's talking to the men on the hard hats in New York City. He gets right down. I mean, I only have a quick story, very, very young in my career. When it rained so hard, we had a delivery into the Trump Towers. He happened to be walking by, and he made us take our jackets off, so he had them all dried for us at the loading dock. It was unbelievable. I didn't know who he was, but my guys explained. That's the kind of guy he is.
That's him. That's Donald Trump.
Peter, we have a minute and a half left.
When he picked down,
we have a minute and a half left. If you could just fill us in on where you are with Trump. Does he use you every day? What kind of great advice does he lean on you for things, which I'm sure that he does? Well, how often do you talk to him? Can you tell him I said hello?
It's not like I have an open line of communication where I can call him. I do have his phone number, but I would never use it.
Of course.
What I do is, I communicate with emails and provide information to him, because I have a lot of people. Ever since I was the one that was getting information on January 6th, I still have all the different contacts for when I did that, and so I get information about all kinds of topics that I make sure that he receives. And that's really where our communications go.
Peter, I kind of consider you got 30 seconds. Steve Schmidt's got you.
No, Peter, how do people get your book?
Well, just go to legalbrains.com. And my email is pt@legalbrains.com. I'll get you a copy if you need it.
We got a couple of copies. I want you to come in and sign one is what I want you to do. And I want you to explain one-on-one. We'll fill the warehouse for you, Peter Tickton. God bless you, brother.
Thank you.
God bless you, too. Thank you for all you do.
Ken Simmons. This is a piece of freedom made from One World Trade Center, New York City, Ground Zero. And to know the true value of this steel and the sacrifice it comes with, it dates back to 9/11/2001, made from the most expensive material on earth, a human soul, and the life it comes from, an American citizen. And its value is more than gold, more precious than rubies, and it's few, and it's as rare as it gets. And so few will ever hold these sacred medallions. It's a gift like no other. Get a piece of freedom at apieceoffreedom.com for a hero in your life.
Are you a musician, comedian, actor, filmmaker, or artist who stands for traditional American values? Do you believe in the preservation of our nation, our culture, and our freedoms? If you share our passion for America and want to use your talents to make a difference, we want to hear from you. Our mission is clear. Through the arts, we uphold the principles of freedom, faith, family, and the American spirit. It's time to step up to the mic and make your voices heard. So contact us at AmericanConservativeArtists.com. The Queens Village Republican Club is America's oldest Republican club, founded in 1875. Situated in President Trump's hometown in Queens, New York, we are America First MAGA Republicans, empowering fellow Republicans to get involved in the game of politics at the grassroots level. We host inspiring monthly club meetings on the first Thursday of each month at 8 p.m. For more information, please go to our website at www.qvgop.org.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really
feel good about themselves and about this great country.
I'm back. Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land. I debate anybody with that. Come on in and see. This weekend, big Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, Rudy Giuliani, Lara Logan. Whoa. That was a nice confirmation. But right now, in the warehouse, in the studio, Kenny Simmons. Kenny Simmons, you saw his commercial. We're going to show it throughout the day. You can have a piece of God, a piece of history. Kenny, you're an incredible man. I apologize for accusing you to be a police officer. I appreciate not giving a ticket to me. But you were saying some amazing things. Please, here's your chance. Tell the world all about you, what you're at, how you got here, and the America. You told me how much you love America. Come on, here's your chance. Let it happen.
Definitely a patriot. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Semper Fi, my double dog.
Semper Fi.
I did bring a piece of freedom for Joe the Box. Got to. Oh, yeah. I got.
Give me that.
Oh, yeah,
I
baby.
love presents.
I got Trump on the cover of it for you. I made sure I put that on there.
Trump promises freedom. He does. Beautiful. Go ahead, Kenny. So
I'm a 9/11 rescue worker, Joe. I was in the tower when the tower came down. There was only 11 of us that made it out alive. It was the most incredible. I saw Father Judd come in. He was in for 1 minute, 38 seconds. Two firefighters walked up to him, and a gentleman, I don't know if he was a firefighter or a police officer. He said some nice things to him, and I think he blessed him. He turned around, the tower shook. Father Judd fell dead right there on the spot. And the most amazing thing was I don't know how I ended up going through the subway system and down and coming up through the Millennium Hotel, because everything was black. Everything fell, everything shook, everybody was running in all different directions. And I had captured this footage, and when I looked at this footage all these years later, I zoomed in and I was like, well, that's Father Judd that carried him by. I actually captured him in the lobby and then captured him being carried out. And so in a film that I'm making called The Rise, America's Unsung Heroes, it's about all the patriots and what we did and how we came together. It shows what America's really about, how we come together under the most extreme pressure in the entire history of America, and we came together and loved one another, and we did everything we could. We dug through the rubble, we picked things up. For me, I believe in post-traumatic stress disorder because the things that I found, I think the most traumatic thing for me was a clock one day. I'm sitting there looking at this clock, and I realized it came down, 80, 90 floors, and here it is. It's got a battery in it. It's still ticking. And as it was ticking, I was looking at it, and I was pulling on this rope that I found. I'm pulling this rope, I'm pulling this rope. Now, this is after I was trapped inside of the tower for 17 and a half hours. I crawled back in. We found a hole. I crawled back in. I hit this firefighter, and I said, hey, you've got to go in there. It's your job. He goes, I ain't going in there. I looked at the police officers. You got to go in there. A couple other iron workers. You got to go in that hole. No, I ain't going in that hole. I said, well, get me some flashlights because I'm going in that hole. Wow. And we didn't have flashlights, so they gave us those green things that you snap in half. And they gave me a pile of them. And I taped a couple to my helmet. And I crawled down into this hole. I had no mask on. There was no masks. Some people were showing up with masks that you paint with and stuff, but those weren't masks. And whatever you used was ruined within seconds because everything we were breathing in. I crawled into this hole, and I was breaking the things and laying them down behind me. And I'm crawling through, and it's not like I'm crawling on the floor right here. Everything's mangled upon you, so you have to squeeze your way through. But I knew that this long thing was a stairwell, and I kept beating on it. I said, wow, it's hollow on the other side. Someone could be on the other side. But the further I traveled in, and the more I broke those, and the dust and everything that was still coming down, heavy, I turned back, and I couldn't see where I came from. But I knew the stairwell was there. So I crawled around the stairwell, and I'm beating, and then I look back, and there is no way back out. I don't see any light. First thing I did was I'm a grown man, but I screaming at the top of my lungs. And all I could hear was the machinery outside. And at the same time, I could hear the steel squeaking and breaking around me. I could feel it. And now, instantly, I had claustrophobia. Instantly, I was like, oh my God, I made a mistake of coming in here. I can't even see light to get myself out. And I'm crawling and screaming. After like 6 hours, I realized, I had already defecated all over myself. And I was crying. I was talking to God nonstop. I was saying, I'm so sorry. What did I do? This is the wrong thing to do. I'm down here. But it was bigger and badder than everything I thought. And for starters, I was there filming an infomercial with my friend Jody DiGiorno for Cantor Fitzgerald. So I didn't run down to the towers once they were smashed. And I was there inside of them getting ready to work when the plane hit. So I couldn't find it in my heart. I'm a Marine. I'm a Boy Scout. I'm a patriot. I love America. I was raised by my mother and father, my grandmother and grandfather, to help, not to run. And look at me, 220 pounds, big strapping guy. I wasn't going to run. I sat there and cried like a baby. I laid there, and I was crawling, and I was crawling. And at one point, I saw this diamond. I said, look at that shiny little diamond. Where's that coming from? I'm trying to reach out and grab it. And when I put my hand out, I realized it wasn't. It was a little light that was sitting in. And I looked at that light, and I said, that's coming from the outside. Stay, whatever you do, whatever angle you try to crawl out, don't lose that light. Focus on that light. And I went in all the way over by Burger King. That's where I entered with that rubble. The rubble that I went in was in front of Brooks Brothers. I go in there, and when I exit, I'm all the way across on the other side by church. And when I came across the other side, and I was coming out, and I followed that light, I found a firefighter. So of course, I grabbed him. He was gone. But I couldn't leave what I had found. And when I brought him up and I was dragging this guy out to the top, I look at the beam. And this is some of the things that affected me PTSD-wise. I looked at that beam and it said 94th floor. I was like, wow, I remember being up on here. This is one of the floors I was up on, 96th, 94th, and above. I worked on it. I met people, I filmed people on. And so when I'm crawling out, I looked at that. And I remember coming out, and when people spotted me, I was up. I came in at ground level, but I had to be at least 7 floors up in rubble because it was piled that high. There was sirens going off, beeping going off, and these firefighters and iron workers, like ants, they swarmed all the way up there to grab a hold of this firefighter. And they were honking and honking. And I remember how they were all gone. And I stood standing there all by myself, looking at that 94th floor. I sat there, I turned, I talked to God. I came down, I went back to work a few hours later in the bucket brigade, took a little break, and I found this rope. And I'm yanking on this rope, and I'm pulling this rope, and I'm like, where's this rope coming from? What kind of world? A rope? What is this rope? And I turned, and Bernie Carrick standing there with Dan Rather, and hey, Kenny, come down, you need to take a break. And I yanked on this rope, and it wasn't a rope. It was someone's intestines. And that was a torso I pulled up. And I just remember I looked at him and I said, what do you want me to do with this? What bucket does this go in? And he came over to me. He said, been here 7.5 days, Kenny. I think maybe you should go home. How could I go home? How could I leave all these people? And that was the first time they said, this is a recovery, Ken. We're not going to find anybody. And I remember walking to the West Side Highway and walking all the way up and seeing the thousands of New Yorkers standing on every side of the street screaming at me. I was covered in my own urine and feces and just filth. And everybody screaming, you're a hero, you're a hero, we love you. The heroes were inside. Yeah. They were gone.
Unbelievable, Kenny. You have got everybody in the room. You just silenced everybody. What an incredible story. I think I might even have read about you. Is there a movie? Wasn't there a movie about you too? I mean, what to me is incredible to hear how you were in the subway, yet you ended up on the Brooks Brothers side of because I'm very familiar with the Twin Towers. I did a lot of work in there. We had guys in there the day before. Matter of fact, we have one of their passes. I honestly wish we had a whole show on you, Kenny, and I might have to do that and have you come back here. There's a lot of people around today. This is absolutely beautiful, magnificent, a piece of freedom that Kenny had brought over here. And this is what you're doing. Is this actually from the World Trade Center?
That's the steel. And it comes. I got a certificate of authenticity over there, verified by the New York, New Jersey Port Authority. I'm the only one in the world that got the steel and was able to manufacture it and sell it. The sad thing is, you saw me. These go for $2,000. I've never sold one because I'm always giving them away to heroes.
Wow, Brother Love.
You know,
that's unbelievable, man. Because I got to tell you, I know what that means, and I know there was a time where I wouldn't hesitate to give you $2,000 too, Kenny. But I can probably give you a membership discount here at the warehouse. I think I can do that for you. We got 1 minute left. I love you, Kenny. You're going to be around for all the other shows. Motorhome Mike is on the far left over here. I'm going to give him 50 seconds because 50. I love him. That's it, just 50. Now you got 43.
Okay.
Look at that clock,
Listen.
43. There's your camera.
All right. Listen, after that story, I don't really know what to say. I'm just actually speechless.
You? I don't believe that for 1 second. Listen, my boy over here is a sheriff. He served the country. He served the county in California for 20-some odd years, and he's lost for words.
Yeah. So I will say this. Being on the motorhome, what I'm doing seems insignificant now.
It's not.
It is 9/11, brother.
I know. I mean, and I run across people every day, the libs, screaming and yelling and acting crazy. But at the end of the day,
LogicalConservative.com.
Man, I don't. Thank you.
You got it, man.
I'm sorry I didn't give you no time. I didn't know we were running short, or I would have.
No, I don't think there's anything I could really follow up with that.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Sorry.
That was a beautiful tribute you just gave.